After months and months of waiting, I now have completed my first 24 hours with the Nintendo Switch. What's up, everybody? It's Zach from Switchforce. I've got Gabe and Jake here, and together we are going to recount the first official day of Nintendo Switch. It has been a whirlwind, a blast, and also just kind of surreal. So I wanted to bring you guys on and see if you had any questions and kind of go over my experience of what it's been like. I unboxed the thing, I played a bunch of Zelda, and I went through all the UI interface and just kind of experienced and enjoyed it in all its different forms: tabletop, handheld, messed with the Joy-Con, the grip. So let's start off with questions.
All right. So first question is the most obvious one. Where did you play it? Like, did you play it in bed? Like, did you take advantage of that opportunity? Or were you just so enamored that you just stuck yourself on the couch and play it in the traditional ways? Or did you push the boundaries of where you can play the Switch?
A little bit of both. I did not play in bed. I was up until 3:30 in the morning.
You didn't like cradle it in your sleep like a security blanket, like make sure nobody comes in and steals it or anything?
No,
you didn't tuck it under your pillow?
You
didn't give it its own bed?
I'm very excited for you to get your Switch now and document your first 24 hours because I think it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, your 24 hours sound way more fun than Zach's.
So I first played it in handheld mode, and you know that's the easiest thing to do right out of the box. And then I docked it to play Breath of the Wild. Now I can't tell you like what in Breath of the Wild I played, but I can tell you that it's Breath of the Wild, and the dock experience with the grip was as I expected. You know, that's how we played it at events. And I do like the grip. I think the grip takes a little time to get used to. But once you kind of overcome the fact that this is a brand new controller and it has a brand new form factor, it felt completely natural and completely great. It was interesting, and it still is, to hold this thing without anything attached, because every time we've seen a Switch, it's been anchored to a station or anchored to a table or anchored to a mock airplane. So to hold it and have it without any of that really enhances the form factor and the portability of this thing. I firmly believe it will not fit in any of my pockets, and I'm a little worried to take it with me right now because I don't have a case. Not because of any durability issue, just because I want to keep it so pristine. But to get back to your original question, Jake, after I played it docked, I did lay on the couch and play Zelda Breath of the Wild. So that was my relaxed and mobile experience.
Did you have the common mistake or mishap of dropping, like when you lay in your bed and you have your phone above you and you drop it on your face? Did you drop the Switch on your face?
No, I didn't, but I did realize that it's heavier than my phone, so I did kind of go from laying on my back to
wobbling,
more of a slouch, pretty quickly. But one thing that's interesting is, like for Zelda, it's a little, or just using the Switch, I guess, it's a little different going from like the grip where the Joy-Con are close together and then putting the Joy-Con farther apart. And I'm assuming certain games are going to have an easier time of that or a more difficult time of that, depending on how they utilize the buttons. And obviously the buttons on the Joy-Con stay in the exact same positions, right? You're not rotating buttons. This isn't that vision of the NX. But, you know, there's a difference when they're an inch and a half apart on the grip versus, 6 inches apart or 7 inches apart, I guess, on the screen. But it does look so good, and it still is like just like a freaking fun moment to know you're playing this AAA Zelda game on a cartridge. It's crazy to hold that cartridge and be like, there is this massive adventure in this little tiny thing. And then to play it handheld is still slightly surreal, although I was surprised by how much I liked playing it on TV. And docked felt still really good and still like Nintendo's next console.
I'm wondering, since we've played it at like events and like special setups and all that stuff, how is like the hype factor, the excitement factor playing the Switch at home when like everything's calm, there's nobody else around, it's just you and the Switch? How did your opinion change? Were you more excited, less excited? Like, how did you feel like you got more into the game because there wasn't other people around? Or like, how was that experience different from playing it like at events like you've been playing it previously? Because this is your first time playing it like on your own, like how you will be playing it for the years to come.
Yeah, I mean, this is the first console that I have played pre-release to this extent, so it wasn't as exciting as my first ever experience in New York with the Switch. nonetheless, it still was incredibly fun. And I do think what you mentioned about being more into the game is true. I was much more focused on what I was doing on screen versus, paying extra attention to my hands or the controls or to the form factor. Obviously, it still all is there and still all is good. And I still think this is a very sexy and very sturdy and very well-made system. It feels like a higher quality product than the Wii U, hands down. By far, this thing has the right weight. It's got the right level of polish and just overall, it has like a sheen to it, right? That the Wii U kind of felt like a plasticky thing. Even the Wii, was much more of like a toy, whereas this feels like a piece of tech. And I think that's an important difference, and Nintendo was wise to move in that direction. But yeah, I was much more into like Zelda and the experience of that, and pausing it, throwing it in the dock to charge. And I will say one thing I am impressed with that I didn't pay much attention to at the events is the size and sort of the footprint of the dock. This thing can be put anywhere. I currently have it sitting atop my computer tower because the dock is so small and it's so thin. It really can be placed anywhere, and that's one of my favorite things. Like, even when you do want to play in TV mode, you got the AC adapter, the HDMI plugged in, and then you dock, the Switch itself in, and it takes up like next to no space, which is super convenient.
And I know you don't have like a great indication of this, and we know what we're told as far as battery life goes. But how's the battery been for you so far? When you were playing at the couch, like, did you notice that, like, oh, you played for like 40 minutes, now you got to go like plug in? Like, how was that?
It wasn't 40 minutes. We've been hearing and reading about 2.5 hours with Zelda. I didn't throw any timers on. I did notice that the battery chunked down quite a bit when I was playing on the couch. But for me, it's no harm, no foul to go throw it in the dock and get it back up to 100%. One of the most fun things, again, is just modifying and messing with the form factor. So it sounds like a small quirk, but taking the Joy-Con off the side and putting them back on somehow is really satisfying. And it's a quick, easy thing. So like currently I have the Switch docked and the Joy-Con are attached on. And it's no biggie for me to just pull those Joy-Con off and start playing, and then when I'm done, slide them back on, and that's going to keep everything charged and at full battery. It confirms for me that I will never be buying a charging grip. For me, there's virtually no use or no need for it because it's again, this dock can go with me wherever I want and is super light, super easy. I can throw it right on a side table. I can put it right on my computer tower, and so attaching those Joy-Con is simple.
I have a question that to bring up something that you've talked about before is the bezel. How you think that was irritating to you? Now playing it at home and kind of being immersed in the game more, do you find that to be like irrelevant?
Yeah, that's a good question. The bezel is still a thing, but for some reason it didn't bother me at all yesterday.
Yeah, because like when I was playing, I didn't even notice it until you guys brought it up in a video when we were at
And I think it may
playing.
just be like trying to be super perceptive at events and really like digest the entire thing and pay attention to all the little details versus just playing the game, right? Like eventually the controller just melts away, eventually the form factor melts away, eventually the bezel melts away, and you're kind of just in the game. And so I didn't really notice it. I did notice that for me, there were some instances of exploring and playing the game that I preferred having the TV. And that's not to say that every game or everything you do is going to be that way, but it was something where I was like, like I can see benefits to playing it on TV, and yeah, the bezel though, I don't know. I'm looking at it right now and it looks smaller to me than I remembered at the events, which obviously is not the case, but yeah,
they heard your complaints and they switched the Switch right before they sent it to you.
It has become a non-factor for me.
That's awesome to hear.
And the interface is really snappy as well, yeah.
Well, I mean, I was going to get into that a little bit here. And, specific question that you guys have, you can leave them in the comments and everything. But just to be clear, there is a day one update that's going to, like, bring a lot of the stuff that you guys want to know about. Like, people were asking about friend lists and how does that work. While it's there, we can't see it or whatever because the update hasn't happened. And that's going to be required. Same for the eShop and all that stuff.
Right. There is no access to the eShop. There is no access to friends list. Those things are tied behind or locked behind. So it says, like, you need an update, you go to update, and you can't connect to the servers. I'm not sure when that's going to go live. I would hope it goes live before the actual launch before the reviews can be posted so that we could get some time with it and also just see what the eShop is like and what they have on there. But interface as a whole is real quick, real snappy. It is their most elegant interface yet, and it feels very not like Nintendo, as weird as that is to say, because everything has like good places. I like the little settings bar on the bottom. Everything loads very easily. I mean, maybe you remember the Wii U, going into settings and hitting the different icons was kind of a pain. And getting like to your internet settings or getting to data management was really, it took too long. Yeah, there's delays that shouldn't have been there. This, none of that. Like, it's all very simple, and even just like the stuff that, the top left has your page. So it says Zach's page, and it shows, my icon, it shows my Mii's, my friends list, all that stuff. Obviously, it's not filled out right now because there's no update, but it's just a more modern and elegant and simplified interface that is very snappy. And some people ask, like, oh, is there installs? There was no install. Put the Zelda cartridge in, and instantly you can click on it and go. There's a little bit of a time, going from the menu screen, the home menu, to the game, but it's not anything egregious. It's not anything too long. And there's that for everything. When you load up a game on PS4, you hit Horizon, it throws you the static splash before loading the game. And the suspend feature works great, right? You can hit the home menu and take the system back to the UI and then load right back into Zelda. That's instantaneous. It's a very snappy, quick device, and that obviously works in both handheld and home console TV mode, and provides, like, again, a very modern console type experience where Nintendo has lagged previously.
So overall, positive 24 hours. You're digging it so far?
Oh yeah, super fun. I wish I had more games to play with. I wish I had the Pro Controller. The grip is kind of really growing on me, and I don't know that you need a Pro Controller, at least at the onset. I think eventually, you're going to want to invest in some multiplayer options and get your Mario Kart on, your Splatoon 2 on, but for now, like, if I wasn't able to pre-order one, I would be okay. The grip is pretty sufficient, and I like... It sounds dumb, but I really like just like sliding the Joy-Con on and off of stuff. It's really kind of a satisfying sensation. And the grip is like it's a really cute size with a really nice. The plastic is very smooth. I was comparing like my my other controllers, and maybe this is like, again, just a newness thing, and so it's kind of I'm noticing it more. But if you hold like the PlayStation controller, there's grip on the back a little bit. Same with the Xbox. The grip itself has no grip, but something about that, like, smooth plastic just gives it this very new feel. And I felt like that. I think since it has new form factor with this handheld hybrid, it has new controller with the Joy-Con. It has a totally new look with the dock here. Like, it felt very new. And obviously the PlayStation 4, the Xbox One, the Wii U felt new and were super fun launch days. But they felt like iterations, whereas this is a whole new idea, a whole new way of playing games, and a whole new way of approaching design for Nintendo. So it really has like this, holy crap, a new generation feel, and I think that's just a fun thing to experience. I'm glad I got Neon. I will say that. Nothing against the people that pick the Grays. They're good, but I like the look of the Neon a lot. And I haven't had any issue thus far with the Joy-Con themselves. I know there's been some syncage problems, as reported by Polygon and others, actually a whole bunch of people on Twitter, but I've had none of those issues. I still wish the joysticks themselves were a little bit more in line with each other instead of so offset, but it's not an issue. In fact, the only control issue I have, and I'll just to be very detailed, the plus button on the right joystick can be a little tricky to hit while in action in handheld mode, because it's spread out. You got your hand on the sticks, your thumbs on the sticks rather, and the buttons, and then the plus button. I don't know. That one has been a little awkward for me, and I was surprised that it was. But other than that, it feels very fluid and kind of everything I expected and hoped it to be.
Glad that you're really liking it, though. So at least everything so far seems to be positive. We'll have a separate video about the sync issues and all that, but
yeah, and we'll definitely make more once you guys get yours, and we can sort of have a round robin about what it's like. Also, I want to see Jake's switch bed and understand how you are going to care for your new child. Are you gonna
take it to a whole nother level?
Are you gonna name it? Does it get a pair of googly eyes?
Oh, so many ideas. You'll just have to wait and see.
The game carts are chunky, by the way. I want to point that out. I was expecting them to be a little thinner, but they're kind of chunky.
But they're so small it doesn't even matter. Like,
oh no, it doesn't matter. It's just kind of cute, and they've got a little chub, and they this has been stated many times, but when you put Zelda in, it doesn't like take a chunk of the memory. It's 25.9 gigs or what is available from boot up, and it's not like Zelda is like the cartridge of Zelda is not hogging any of that space. So
just save files probably. So
yeah, which it still is at 25.9. So in theory, like you don't need a micro SD if you don't want one.
No. You probably need one for. I mean, not if your only game's gonna be Zelda for a while.
Yeah.
But if you plan on getting stuff, you definitely need a.
Well, if you were gonna go physical.
Oh, sure. But certain
kind
things
of
won't
am
be
thinking
physical.
like yeah, that's true.
Snipper
true.
clips isn't physical, and like I mean, you're gonna need to download stuff down the line, I think.
Yeah, and so now where I'm at is I just want more games. I just want more to do with it. Like Zelda is Zelda,
so
and
impatient.
I want the rest of the launch lineup, and I want it to get to Binding of Isaac Afterbirth Plus. I want it to get to Snipper Clips. I want to get to ARMS.
You just want to milk cows. Admit it.
I really want 1-2 Switch. I'm actually genuinely so pumped for that game, and I can't wait to
play
play it.
Yourself.
So, well, that would be a little sad. Milk both cows simultaneously.
Yeah, practice.
Simul switching. That's what I want to do. But until then, we got to wait a little bit. The eShop's not up. Hopefully, I can get my hands on that soon. Let us know if you have any questions about the Switch in the comments below. We can do a Q&A at some point and try to cover maybe some topics we didn't think of, but that you are curious about. So let us know that. Make sure to subscribe if you want to keep up to date with all the Switch glory and goodness. For now, though, I'm going to get back to playing Zelda. For myself, Jake, and Gabe, we are all so close, and let me tell you, it tastes and feels and smells just like Kit did. It smells so good. So until next time, thanks again. For myself, Jake, and Gabe, Switch Force out.